Breaking the silence, taking the dive in. Nikki pulling strings like she playing the violin. Made in his likeness, radiant vibrance. Give him all glory, ain't no way to deny it. She gon' make you laugh, she gon' stimulate your mind. Making things shake, she ain't into wasting time. They can come close, but can't imitate the grind. Got a different way to illustrate and innovate designs. BTS podcast, gotta watch that. Teaching us the game, that mean Nikki got class. If you watch it once, you gon' wanna stop back. This an opportunity that you cannot pass. Unleash your inner voice, cause better days coming. Better days, get ready for better days. Better days, better days. Better days, get ready for better days. Better days, better days.
Every voice has a story, every story has a moment, and every moment has power to change a life. Welcome back to another episode of Motivational Mondays on the Breaking the Silence podcast. I'm your host, Arthur Nikki Nicole. And today's topic is I kept waiting to be chosen, but then I chose myself. For years, I searched for acceptance in places that were never meant to define my worth. I tried to fit in these spaces that didn't celebrate me, shrink myself to make others comfortable, and earn approval that always seemed just out of reach. But what happens when you finally stop living for everyone else's expectations? What happens when you stop apologizing for who you are? What happens when you finally choose yourself? And today's motivational message is personal for me. It's about finding your voice after years of silence, embracing your worth after years of doubt, and learning that your value was never dependent on someone else's approval. If you ever felt unseen, unheard, misunderstood, or like you were never enough, this conversation is for you. So settle in, open your heart, and let's talk about what happens when you finally choose yourself. What happens when you finally choose yourself? For so long, I've tried to be who people wanted me to be. I've tried to fit into spaces and places that never really celebrated me. I wanted love. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be appreciated. More than anything, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted approval. And I spent years trying to avoid disappointing people, even when it meant disappointing myself at the same time. When I expressed my feelings, I was often labeled as a hot-headed. But the truth is, I wasn't trying to argue. I wasn't trying to cause problems. I was trying to be heard. How many of us have spent years trying to explain ourselves to people who already made up in their minds about who we are? How many of us have walked in the rooms already carrying the weight of other people's opinions? And for so many years, I felt like I was stuck in a child's place because that's how people continued to see me. No matter how old I got, no matter what I accomplished, no matter how much I grew, to some people, I was still that same child they had always known. Maybe you experienced that too. You work hard, you mature, you heal, you evolve, you become a different person. Yet people continue to hold you hostage to an old version of yourself. They remember your mistakes but ignore your growth. They remember who you were but fail to see who you've become. And that can be painful, hurtful, exhausting. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't growing. The hardest thing is growing while people refuse to acknowledge it. And for years, I felt like my voice didn't matter. So I became quiet. I learned how to sit with my feelings. I learned how to carry hurt without talking about it. I learned how to smile when I was struggling. I learned how to pretend everything was okay when it wasn't. But silence had a cost. The more I silenced myself, the more disconnected I became from the who I really was. The more I worried about making everyone else comfortable, the more uncomfortable I became with myself. No matter what I achieved, it never seemed like enough. Every accomplishment was followed by another expectation. Every success was followed by another reason why I wasn't enough in someone else's eyes. Maybe you felt this way too. You graduate, you get the promotion, you start the business, you raise your children, you survive the things people never knew you were carrying the whole time. Yet somehow you're still waiting for someone to say, I'm proud of you. You're still waiting for someone to acknowledge how far you've come. You're still waiting for that validation. The problem is, sometimes the people we want validation from are unable to give it. Not because we're unworthy, but because they don't see us the way God sees us. I come from a very large family, but for much of my life, I struggled with understanding where I belonged. I still don't know where my father's side of the family originated from. My father's grandmother raised him, and she was only part of my life for a very few short years before she passed away. I didn't meet my mother's parents until I was a teenager. Years later, they both passed away too. There were pieces of my story that always felt incomplete. Questions I never got answered, connections I never got to build, roots I never fully understood. And sometimes when we don't know where we come from, we spend our life searching for where we belong. And for a long time, I thought everyone was my friend. I trusted easily. I believed people meant what they said. I believe loyalty worked both ways. I believe if I loved people genuinely, they would love me the same way. Life taught me so much. It taught me differently. Not everyone who smiles at you is for you. Not everyone who supports you today will support you tomorrow. Not everyone who starts the journey with you is meant to finish it with you. And that's okay because every lesson teaches us something. Some people are blessings, some people are lessons, some people are both. And for years, I've never felt like I completely fit in. I felt invisible. I felt overlooked. I felt like I was standing in a crowded room hoping someone would finally see me. And maybe that's why breaking the silence means so much to me because I know what it's like to feel unheard. I know what it's like to feel unseen. I know what it's like to wonder if your story matters. And if you're listening today, let me tell you something. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Your life matters. Your experiences matter. There is somebody waiting to hear the very thing you've been afraid to say. And then one day, something changed. I realized I had spent my entire life searching for permission, permission to speak, permission to dream, permission to be different, permission to take up space, permission to tell my truth, permission to be myself. And that's when I discovered something very powerful. Nobody was coming to give me permission. I had to give it to myself. I had to stop waiting for acceptance. I had to stop waiting for approval. I had to stop waiting for validation. I had to stop waiting for people to finally see my worth because my worth was never dependent on their ability to recognize it. My worth already existed. I just had to believe it. That realization changed everything. It didn't happen overnight now. It wasn't one magical moment. It was a series of decisions. A decision to stop shrinking. A decision to stop apologizing for who I am. The decision to stop carrying the guilt. Things that made other people feel uncomfortable. The decision to stop making myself smaller so other people could feel bigger. The decision to choose myself. And choosing myself isn't selfish. Now let's talk about that. Because so many of us were taught that putting ourselves first is wrong. We were taught that self-sacrifice equals love. We were taught that saying yes makes us good people. We were taught that keeping everyone happy should be our priority. But what happens when we keep when keeping everyone happy destroys you? What happens when your peace is constantly sacrificed for someone else's comfort? What happens when you're pouring into everyone else around you while running on empty? Eventually, something has to change, right? You cannot continuously abandon yourself and expect to be whole. Choosing yourself means respecting yourself. Choosing yourself means protecting your peace. Choosing yourself means setting boundaries. Choosing yourself means understanding that your needs matter too. Y'all, it took me all of this year to realize all of that. And one of the hardest lessons I learned is not everyone will celebrate your healing. Some people benefited from the broken version of you. Some people were comfortable with the silent version of you. Some people preferred the version of you that never spoke up. But healing changes you. Growth changes you. Self-love changes you. And not everybody will like that. And that, guess what? That's okay. Because growth isn't about making everyone else comfortable. It's about becoming who you are created to be. And today, honestly, I can say that I am learning to love myself. And for a while, I did not love myself. Many, many years, I couldn't look in the mirror at myself because I didn't love myself. But not because I'm perfect, y'all. Not because I have all the answers. Not because I figured everything out. But because I finally understand that I deserve the same love, grace, patience, and compassion that I give to everyone else. I am one of one. There is no one else like me. There is no one else with my story. There is no one else with my journey. No one else with my purpose. And the same is true for you. There is only one you. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop minimizing yourself. Stop waiting for someone else to tell you who you are. You already have value. You already have purpose. You already matter. The moment I chose myself wasn't the moment life became perfect. It was the moment life became honest. It was the moment I stopped surviving and started living it. It was the moment I stopped asking people to validate what God had already placed inside of me. And if you're listening today, I want to leave you with this. You do not need permission to be yourself. You do not need approval to walk in your purpose. You do not need validation to know your worth. Choose yourself. Love yourself. Trust yourself. Speak up for yourself. Show up for yourself. Because the moment that you do, you'll begin to understand something very powerful. You were never too much. You were never not enough. You were never invisible. You were never without value. You simply spent too much time looking for worth in places that were never designed to hold it. So this week, I want you to ask yourself one question. What would my life look like if I finally chose me? And when you find the answer, don't be afraid to walk in it, because your voice matters, your story matters, and the world needs to see the version of you that is no longer afraid to be seen. So until next time, keep breaking the silence and keep unleashing your inner voice. Later, everybody.
Better days Slowly but surely it's a better space that'll waste my mind, so I meditate till I levitate, I elevate. When I learn not to hesitate, no more, keep moving forward. Chase my goals and focus more towards it. Hate the lows, but I need those to flourish. Place my goals in front, that's what's important. So I ask myself what inspires me. Breaking out of my shell, feeling yo shot quiet me, and now I'm breaking the silence like I'm Nikki Nicole. Let's go. Promise you gon' see better days. Gotta keep going till you see them. Promise you gon' see better days. You gotta keep going till you see them.